Yeah, they do pretty well.
But there, see that vent right there?
Yeah.
That will blow.
But you hear everything what happens downstairs from here, you know that.
Hmm?
You hear all the noise from downstairs. Just to let you know.
Yeah.
No
But
perfection.
it's not insulated yet. That part's not closed up yet.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So
Anyways,
there's like
that will be warm in the winter, and it's designed to wash the floor with warmth and cool in the summer. The machine out there is from Czechoslovakia, actually. It hasn't been
Wow.
approved yet either. And then the floors have hydronic heating.
From Japan and Czechoslovakia. Hey, Melissa, can you turn some lights on? They're behind the door, right behind that swinging door.
hydraulic, not the electric, hydraulic, water.
No, in here.
So
Yeah,
you decided
there you go.
To do the warming
Yeah,
the
good.
Warms the floor.
I don't
Yeah,
really like
you want
that.
some fan?
It-
The fan should be there.
You know what? We'll just cut it out.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe.
No, I mean in the sense that
Yeah.
it's in Italy they had that for many years and they took them out. Really? Yeah, because it's something that I mean I don't know, it doesn't really work, but it's okay.
Oh.
I always heard it was more like efficient or like cheaper, but I guess it doesn't work better.
No, not really. I mean it's if you walk around and
Okay, Dharma time.
it's okay. I think it's awesome for here, especially when you meditate. It's
Dharma time. So that's how HVACs and all that go, but how's your practice? How's your practice? We don't need permits to go ahead and do it. No inspection, except maybe intro inspection. Introspection. So, what's up? Yeah. Sorry. Excuse me.
Seems so official. Right now, I'm noticing that I just have a lot of thoughts, just thought after thought after thought. There's no reprieve at all, and I'm having a hard time in my meditation because the witness, me witnessing my thoughts, or the thoughts and the witness are merging a little bit too much, so I get swept up and I become the thought or the witness to the thought becomes the thought. So it's really hard to detach from that, and it's very confusing.
So are you judging it as not good while it's happening?
Yes, there is some judgment there, yes.
Yeah. So that's one layer to peel off. I mean, your question has quite a number of layers, but those, the thoughts, then the awareness or the witness, you're saying, it's interesting when you said they merge too much. But we can look at, we'll go back and talk about that. But when you start judging the whole thing, that's like a not nice witness. It's the witness for the prosecution comes in. And is not just neutral, neutral witness, like, okay, yeah, cotton story, oh, lots of thoughts, okay. This kind of looseness, this kind of relax. And one thing I've learned, and I'd like to hear from others, especially who've done this a while, sometimes if I just relax my body more, I go back into awareness of body, mindfulness of body, and I see I'm just slightly clenching. and then just go back with a scan, foot to head to foot, relax more. Now that doesn't mean we're really confused about this relax thing. I mean, mostly we don't relax at all, and when we do, we flop, and we're not talking flop into a hammock. So it's very relaxed, and I can't demonstrate it because I'm just working on it, but very relaxed in a kind of confident way. Like I'm confident of my grounding here. I'm sure of it. I can relax right into it. So that can help some of those thoughts slow down. But some days it just happens and it's fine. It could be that some of the question is what we all do, we try too hard. Like I see the witness is getting away from the thoughts, and that's too merged, too far, so all this, judgment. And then just see the judgment. Oh, I'm judging the whole thing. But just that kind of attitude of, none of it's permanent. Next time you sit down, something else will be happening. And even we watch closely, 1 minute that thing you're talking about is happening, but actually it's not a solid set of 40 minutes of only that. If it seems that way, then we're too tight and we're not seeing the flow. So I can make one kind of comparison. Sometimes I go, oh my God, my body hurts so much because I have arthritis. So I can get into that and I can start feeling like this pain has not changed for 30 minutes. Then if I actually go into it, like let's say it's my left knee, I go there with my awareness. I experience that there are so many different sensations there. Heat, prickling, they shift all the time, Then I can be on that, it kind of calms it down. Then I can shift to some part that's not hurting. Like I often pick my cheek, because my cheek never hurts unless somebody slaps me, which hasn't happened for a long time. And I'll just go, well, can I feel, without touching it, can I feel the sensation in my right cheek? Try it right now, without touching it. Put your attention on your right cheek. It's kind of neutral, right? I mean, it could be slightly pleasant or something, but so then that takes the attention away from here. So there's a lot we can do, but just this gently kind of thing. And I think the main thing is this worry, judging that, oh, something different's happening this session. If every session's sort of the same, you might be missing the boat there too. Because that's not how our minds are. And we don't have to be holding so tight that now it feels like, oh, we went off the schedule. There is no schedule when you sit down. There's no expectation, and there's no fear. This might be a terrible session. This might be a great session. In this session, I will make the breakthrough. Or in this session, I'll hold my mind like this. Or in this session, it's so horrible, I can't sit here. Just watch all those. Those are part of the dance. That's the mind. They're just going by. But we might start holding them too tight. Like, wow, there's a gap between this and that. And that's too much, what do they say? Too much meditating. I'm meditating. Don't meditate. That's one of the final instructions in Dzogchen and Mahamudra. And the final thing, don't even meditate. I always think that's funny. You're supposed to sit there and not meditate. But I mean, it's that thing of just open to whatever shows up. Does that help? Does that kind of touch on it? Okay, yeah. Other thoughts about that? Do other people feel that or experience it? And what do you do? No.
There we go. I struggle with this like every day. For me, confronting all of that, like the light show, the drama play, whatever you want to call it, just all of the swirling, like just like churningness that goes on in my own mind. When I try to like treat it like a fight, when I try to treat it like a thing that's like this needs to stop. As soon as I do that, I've already lost. And I do that a lot too. Like that's my habitual response is to like gear up for a fight basically. And I have to like a lot of people, like even talking with Bill like yesterday. Yeah. He talked about sort of like turning around and giving it a big hug, and sometimes I can't do that because as soon as I turn around, I have my sword out. So what I have to do is what you talked about, which is actually go back to what's my body doing, where's the tension, where you know my brow is furrowed, my eyebrows are really tense for some reason,
this thing.
I'm scowling, my stomach muscles are tight. I have to go back into the actual physical tension and relieve that because I need to learn to be relaxed before I can confront what's going on in here in a relaxed way. Yeah. So I'm kind of like at that basic level a lot still.
But that's not a basic level.
It feels like it.
I know, but that is it. That's the level all the time, you know? I mean, it's not like there's some... I think people who have meditated many hours sit down and in almost every session hit something like that, you know? Just watching, okay, pretty tight, okay, tight. I mean, and even you pull out your sword. Just be sweet with that. Okay, here's the swordsman. Hello.
I kind of feel like it's like the try hard in me, like what you're talking about, like like trying so hard to meditate, trying so hard to calmly abide.
Yeah. To calm your body.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to get calm.
I do that to myself a lot, and I really have to approach it like almost backwards to where I'm not even trying to do anything.
Yeah, good. And you know what Lama Michael, what he says to me so many times when I've come to him and asked about specific things, he says, Zopa, you're seeing it. Matthew, you're seeing it. Melissa, you're seeing it. That's the it.
That's
see
all it
it
is.
Just see it. Then don't grab. Just see. Oh, I see. I pulled my sword out. and then you can go, I pulled my sword out. Now I should fight that sword guy with the one that says, don't pull your sword out. You know. Yeah. And I think a sense of humor really helps. Mm-hmm. And there's another thing that really helps is when we take refuge. If we really, in those kind of moments where we're calling on the whole lineage of the masters that have taught us this, the whole lineage, and we're asking for their support while we do this. And if we have that sense, I think we feel that more confident. So it's not just me, Zopa, trying to gut this out, you know. But there's a whole lineage here who've taught this, want us to succeed, pray for us. Khenpo Lodro Donyo undoubtedly prays for all of us every day.
That's awesome.
The Dalai Lama, we are getting all these prayers for our success, but we kind of block it, like I'm just alone.
Would you recommend lineage prayers as like a sort of like a start off? I have the Chinri Z text finally, like the
it's
Mahamudra
always good
lineage.
to do those, and sometimes in the Mahamudra one, I don't do the whole long one, but I'll just name 5 of the names or something and then say, oh, the rest of you. Or for me, I can call to mind my 3 root gurus. I just see their face. Then I'm like, okay, I'm set. So this is the importance of the connection to teachers, and it doesn't have to be like you know that teacher personally. These are your teachers here, so you can look closely at these pictures, or if it's the Dalai Lama or whoever, you call them to mind, and that supports your practice, because they really are in your corner completely. They have nothing in mind but your liberation. That's what I was really mad at one teacher one time. And I went to a different teacher of a different lineage, complaining it was really smart I did that. And she said, your teacher only has one goal for you, and that's to become completely free. She doesn't have any other agenda. And I was just like, here I am going, and she did this, and maybe I didn't like it, and I was mad. And that's okay, that's okay. But Reverend Mako just very gently set me straight, and she doesn't have any other agenda. And I was like, oh my God, you're so right. Yeah, so calling on those supports. Yeah, Ryan.
Melissa, your question was almost the same question that I was going to ask, but worded maybe a little bit different. But I have a question for you about that experience and how you go through it versus how I experience it. Is there a sense that they should be separate? Mm-hmm.
Good question, Ryan. Mm-hmm. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, I think for me, it's hard to say whether the dissatisfaction of them not being separate is creating that very experience versus that experience is happening and then I'm becoming dissatisfied by it. So I think it's almost like you can't tell which one came first because they're like happening at the same time. That's my experience, is that it might be like the dissatisfaction at experiencing a thought and not feeling totally separate from it that creates more almost fusion. That's at least how I experience it. But yeah, I was going to ask about this isn't like exactly in our tradition, but the concept of Rigpa. Yeah. Do you know that word?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I think it's more in the Dzogchen teachings that they more focus on that clear seeing and
but
separating
it's a Tibetan word, Rigpa,
Yeah.
The whole enlightened free mind, and Ma Rigpa, the stuck mind, the samsaric.
Right. So that tradition focuses more on differentiating the two?
No.
Okay. Well, maybe that's getting into too much of it. But yeah.
No, they don't focus more. They focus in a different way. Every tradition focuses on, just in a gross sense, Ma Rigpa, the suffering, and Rigpa, the liberation. Everybody just has their own different way, But we focus on it plenty, just a totally different methods. I mean, it's gonna, liberation's liberation. Buddha didn't teach anything else. I was gonna go back and say about the were you calling it dissatisfaction? Yeah. So just look at it. It's just another set of thoughts. Yeah. It's like you've got some kind of first see that you've got some kind of agenda when you're even before you sit down. You need to drop all agendas. The agenda is just put my bum on the cushion and be as relaxed as possible. That's pretty much it. And be with whatever comes. All these things about trying to see this, do this, stop thoughts, make thoughts, not hold on to thoughts, hold on to thoughts. All of that's in the way. Jeff, yeah, you've been at this a while. Help us here. I mean, you have, so.
I've been looking at descriptions of the process that I think I find them in the Kagyu tradition, but I like the descriptions in the Zen tradition.
Yeah.
Even I find that I respond to them much more readily. And so all the thoughts that are coursing through my mind, and whatever they be, and but also awareness of the room or what's outside the room. Like I can hear
the doggy barking, or
the doggy barking,
car.
or the mourning dove in the next yard, or the sirens of the trucks, whatever's going on. All of that is going through this mind. All of my thoughts and reactions and emotions, and that's all going through the mind, and it's just going through the mind. That's all, and it's more like a mirror. It's just sitting there like a mirror. It's all there. Nothing. Everything, nothing. And I don't have to do anything with it.
Yeah.
I don't have to pick any of it up, analyze it, discuss it, push it away, draw it to me. I don't have to do anything with it.
Yeah.
Not that it works like that all the time, but that's the way I'm coming to understand it.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, the appearance in the mirror. That's such a great metaphor, because it might be, I'm going to suggest, like to Ryan and Melissa, and maybe Matthew too, to all of us, sometimes we start getting a little too, like, I want to peel the appearance away from the mirror. And if they get too close and they seem alike, then there's a problem. No, the only problem is when we get fascinated with the appearance. Let's say the mirror represents awareness, the open awareness, clarity, just whatever shows up. It represents the way our mind functions. If I turn that way, my mirror is of a window and Louisa, and but I turn this way, different thing in the mirror. But I don't have to do anything with the appearances. I don't have to say this is my microphone, or I don't like it, or I like it, or then that's the difficulty, when we get all caught in the appearance and we start making layer on layer on layer on layer. Does that make sense? When we're really when we're really, when we get calm enough, we can experience the mirror more than the appearances, but they are not separate. The phrase in Kagyu is appearance, emptiness, never separate. Yeah, always empty of what? Empty of solid, separate stuff that we throw on top of it and react to. We don't let it go by. It would go by. Even our disappointment or our upsetness would go by. But we are holding it, watching it, trying to figure it out. Is it this? Is it that? And we don't have to. What's a thought made up of? These are all thoughts. What are they made up of? Show me the last 100 thoughts that you had. Boop. And the future ones aren't here yet, and the present, they go by so quick. We can't catch them. But we catch them. and we make them into something. It's much more flowing, but we don't get in the flow. We think there's a me and a flow, and I'm not in that. Or I am in that. Huh?
That's sort of like not really worrying about I'm in the flow and I want out, or I'm out and I want in.
Yeah. You are the flow.
I actually wanted to, like, there was kind of something you said that kind of clicked for me. So it almost what it sounds like to me is you're saying that appearances as they are not delusion. Because appearance and emptiness are like, like this.
No, the delusion is, they are not delusion, but we are deluded about them.
Right.
With that. Yeah. So I think there's a separate Matthew over there. Now, even Western science would say you are just all these photons or whatever molecules, they keep changing, string theory, whatever, shift. But you don't seem to me like you're doing that. This cushion doesn't seem like it's doing that, but it is. So am I. It's a surging, moving, flowing thing. And that's why the death meditations are hard for us to get hold of, because we don't think we're changing into that. We are all dying right now. You are also living right now, but headed towards death, dying, cells dying off. Everything that is gone dies. I go see my grandkids when I leave. That time of seeing them is dead, gone, never going to come again. And I might not see them again each time I leave. I have that thought. What it does for me is make the time so much more precious, so often, so much more precious. I can really enjoy them. Like, what if this was the last time that I saw Rainier? Then you're really there, and not in a grippy way, but just like, wow, it's kind of magic, rather than, oh, you again, doing your 2-year-old things again. Yeah. No, don't do that. Don't put grapes in your ears. Don't put grapes in my ears. So, yeah.
So you turn the conversation back around to the death thing, which has been on my mind lately. I don't know, I have a number of thoughts that are almost disconnected, but they all have to do with this subject. I don't know, about a month and a half ago or a few weeks ago, I heard an interview on the radio with a relief worker in, I think, Nigeria. And something she said comes back to me every day, a number of times a day. She said, she's talking about the people who are sick, who are dying and troubled. She said, it's so easy to die. That just really got my attention. These people just, it's so easy to die. And so that consciousness that you brought up at the beginning of you never know. You never know. Could be this afternoon.
Yeah.
I'll have to make a run to the store. Could be between going to the store and getting home again. You never know.
Yeah, it's so true.
When I first tried to read, this is getting closer to a question, I think. Ken MacLeod's book, Wake Up to Your Life.
Oh, yeah.
And the first story is such a beautiful illustration. The first story is really wonderful. And then he introduces in the second chapter that you have to think about death. And you have to contemplate your process of dying. And I just closed the book.
Yeah. Thanks for
I really don't
sharing
have time
that.
for this now.
Yeah, like, no, I don't. I have to not think about it.
Yeah.
that's what we do.
But now it just kind of comes to me spontaneously all the time, and sometimes I'm okay with it, and sometimes makes me really grumpy.
Yeah.
Like I get hard to be around, and
Because you're gonna die. Because you're gonna die.
I don't know what it is. It's like I feel like in the last handful of years I've aged a whole lot more faster.
Yeah.
Like I was 35 and I was 35 and I was 35 and then even when I was 50 I was still 35.
Yeah, I was too. Then I hit 61 and then
61
I went boom.
I went, oh, I'm not 35 anymore. and
Was it 61?
yeah,
That's how it's
just last year.
And now it feels like I'm not 61 anymore.
Right. Yeah.
It starts
to be
accelerating.
60.
Yeah.
So I know I'm rambling here, but there's a question in there about how to constructively address that when you begin to see it in your very life, in your very body.
What do you do now? I mean, do you have constructive ways you do this? Or do you just go around grumpy?
Well, sometimes grumpy and sometimes...
I'll laugh. Sometimes
sometimes less grumpy. That's right.
Thanks,
So,
Alette. I like
thank
that. Me too.
Yeah.
I have those days too. Like it just looks bleak. I use the word bleak. And, we need to see that in ourselves and go, ooh, I'm sliding there. So what do we do to brighten our own mind? Because nobody else has to brighten our mind. And actually, they can't. Have you ever had someone try to cheer you up? Oh, God, that's so horrible. And both you and they suffer. But you can cheer yourself up. So what do I go to? I go to, death is not the end of anything. There's no end. I mean, maybe you could throw out the word anything. It's the end of what? I'm not going to be in this anymore. Well, this is getting kind of crummy anyway. Do I want to be in this package? Not too much longer, actually. But because it's not going to get better. That's another one of our Western myths, is you can go take a magic medicine or get your knees replaced and get your hips replaced and get your this replaced, but your mind won't get replaced except by you. So more important, we work on the mind. But I really go to the, there's a lot of antidotes to that, but you have to work them. You have to work them. So one is gratitude in the present moment. I mean, look at this. This is good. We're here with Dharma friends. We've all been together a long time. We trust each other on the path because we know we come here because it's important to us. And we support each other. We have this teacher who is phenomenal about holding the view. I mean, amazing. And we have teachings and we can turn to them. So sometimes I'll read, right now I'm reading a book, the Book of Joy, with the Dalai Lama and Archbishop Tutu. It's funny, it's sweet, and it's in depth. And a lot of the book is how did these two old men who totally love each other, you just get to experience that in the book, how much they love each other. It's a week, the guy got them somehow to spend a week together and interviewed them about things like, okay, when South Africa was burning down and your people were all being killed, and how did you stay happy? Or talking to the Dalai Lama, the same, you had to escape, and your monks and nuns were in prison and tortured and still are. How do you stay happy? And it's amazing. So I would recommend that. But we have to, like, I have to go get that book and I have to look at it and go, okay, time for the Book of Joy. You know, read a chapter in that, you know. And it doesn't always cheer me up right away, but it starts making the balance, you know. We have to see, and that slide you're doing is towards nihilism. That grumpy, less grumpy, is toward nihilism. So we have to get a little bit more towards right here, right now. God, those are really nice. You know, and I know this came from Bodh Gaya, this leaf. So from the tree. And so, you know, you can just get something. Bill says, oh, look at that. Wow, this is cool. You know, look at the art on it, slow down, like see something. Who brought that? Who made that? Who put that here? Thank you. So gratitude. It can sound like sometimes we get so cynical, it can sound like Hallmark stuff, like someone goes, Hallmark stuff. Well, that's cynicism. You know, Hallmark stuff's really good sometimes. Cynicism's never good. It just puts us in a grumpy hell mood. We get, you know that thing about it seems sophisticated to not, you know, I'm so cool, I don't care about anything. That's dangerous. And that's the nihilism that's kind of pretty rampant in the world right now. Huh? In vogue. Yeah, be sophisticated, don't care about anything. On the other hand, what that engenders is the explosions of hate and, you know, these passions that just, unless you have something.
Especially hers, but
You like pushing buttons.
I think on the topic of death and dying, without the infinity from one side or other side, it's hard not to be cynical, right?
Yes, right.
So I would suggest to remember a few things. One is that that's how it is all the time. That's how it always was, and probably always will be, unless we are wise enough to not give up done and not exist in the first place, and then you don't need to die, right?
Yes.
It's very simple.
That is part of the liberation. Yeah. Don't grab another
Don't exist
body.
in the first place as an entity, as an ego, right? The moment you realize that you actually are not the solid, rigid ego, it goes like this. I'm serious now. Yeah. I'm serious, because then you see that this blue drop of your consciousness, who is not you. That's the other illusion that actually, oh yeah, I will be practicing and I become, you know, so that I will change into something else, and I will end up probably in some God place, you know. It will be cool and will be me, Aleš, again, you know.
Jeff and
no
Aleš.
way, because it won't be you. Yeah, but I'm joking, and I'm not joking, because this is what helped me a lot. And then on the other thing, go and experience death somewhere, hospice somewhere.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's incredibly transforming experience. I've done it, and I'm very thankful to Faith and to Makiko that she told me, stay with your mama. She's dying. Stay with her. And I stayed with my mom, and that was transforming experience.
Yeah, I think that was my mom too.
So you know that it's good. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I was able to be with both my mother and dad, who died at home. many years apart from each other. And those were just, I always felt like I was given a huge gift to just be there, And tons of my fear of death went away. And, my one teacher says, you've died so many times before. We just don't remember. But we've done this. We've done it and done it and done it. And died and grab a new body, die and grab a new body. But as we work the Dharma, we can die more consciously, eventually get the consciousness to a point where we're actually in full awareness, and then we just take forms that are useful to people, to any beings, and we take them consciously. That's the Bodhisattva way of dying. Like there's even prayers that say, if it's useful to beings, may I be born in hell, and I will be there and not be. And the Bodhisattva doesn't go to hell and be all freaked out, That's the Dalai Lama and Archbishop Tutu are talking about that. Archbishop Tutu was kidding him and said, well, you're going to hell, because you're not Christian. And the Dalai Lama said, yeah, I'm going to go to hell. I want to go to hell. I'm choosing that. Bodhisattvas choose that to help the people there. It was like total flummox, wow, interesting. So, I'm nowhere near that kind of courage, but I admire it. I can aspire for it, right? We can admire it and aspire to be. And who knows, we look at these folks up here. It's quite likely many of them said, I want to come back and teach Buddhism in a country that's never had it, so they come to the West. We didn't have, we didn't have Buddhism till the Japanese Zen folks came in the 30s, and some guy came in the 1880s or something, one guy, for the World Fair or something. But we would have never had this. We would never have this if Kalpa Rinpoche hadn't just picked up and got on a plane when he was so old and tired and emaciated, but just, I'm going to go teach those people. Amazing, huh? That's a bodhisattva, totally. You had something else? No? And that's what we can become. We're on the path to becoming like that in whatever form. And yeah, we're not going to be Zopa and, Alesh and Makiko. That's all going to be gone. So it's kind of cool being it right now. This is pretty short time that you get to be this. And gosh, if you all saw me 20 years ago, how old was I, 50? You would just not even recognize me, who was that then? Kathleen, the lawyer person. I don't even recognize her, but I guess I was it or something. But, think about that, how much you change. You've died to that. And another really nice one that helps me loosen the self that a teacher taught is when you sit down, if you want to work on this, loosening this self up, I think, where was my consciousness? And you pick the year before you were born, before your mom got pregnant even. Where was my consciousness in 1945? It's just such a puzzling question even. It kind of opens something. Your consciousness had some form. So it just opens this. And Alesh is right. It's like we have to open to the Buddhist worldview. Or you don't have to. You don't have to. But it seems helpful to open to the Buddhist worldview. Beginningless time to the consciousness, endless time to the consciousness. I feel really comforted by that. It's like even I mess up really bad this life and mess up when I die, I'm not going anywhere. And every good effort, every effort toward the end of suffering you make has imprinted on your mind, on that consciousness, and will have effects. Also the same, every difficulty we've caused has been imprinted, but we work to they say purify them. I think purifying is a process of seeing it and resolving not to do that again. That's the purification. Nothing magic, although that's pretty magic. Yeah.
Mary, back to your question. No agenda, right? Well, I am here today because we were on trip with Makiko and her mom, and it was like 6, and I was like, I don't know if I make it, because I like to have some time, and Makishan goes like, so you go to KCC? And I go like, do you go? Yeah, I would like to go. Okay, I go. There was no intention. There was no agenda. I'm here right now by accident. And you know what I'm trying to say, right? So if we just let go of this illusion of being in control, that helps, right? Then when you say, oh, I was fused with the mind, I couldn't get the witness stay the distance, right? Yeah, so you were talking about the guy behind you, right? The whole time, right? Well, you can look at it also as an experience, because you came here with no agenda. The agenda is not even to sit on the cushion. The agenda is to have no agenda, right? Or to have kind of experience, because the experience will tell you something. Something not directly, or maybe sometimes very directly. So you got a really shitty session, right? Oh, somebody is telling me something, right? This was a good experience, good session. You know what I mean? Yeah. And usually it leads me to what I have done outside that occupies my mind so much that it's absorbing, or what I have not done. You know what I mean? The continuity and influence of each other, the outside and inside of the meditation place. So I was thinking that's all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's quite helpful. Two pieces I want to kind of pull out there. One is what's called the appearance of the guru. Everything is the appearance of the guru. Good session, bad session. And that's what you're saying. It's all teaching. Good session, bad session, judging. Oh, I see it. Okay, that's the lesson. That was not a bad session. That was a good session. Clearly, it's given us all some merit because we're talking about it and learning from it. It's another thing. And I forgot the second thought. But anyway, yeah, very helpful. Yeah. Oh, I know what it was. It's about causes and conditions. We don't have control, but we do create the causes and conditions. And I think that's what you're talking about. Like I do sit my bum down. That's creating the causes and conditions. But beyond that, if I try to then manage all this, that's doing too much. Yeah. Yeah. Shall we end? Okay. Let's do a dedication. Thank you so much. It was very helpful. I hope it was helpful to me. I hope to all of you. By this virtue may I quickly realize Mahamudra and establish all beings without exception in this state. Thank you. Thank you, Louisa. So if everyone can straighten cushions just a little, nice straight rows for the next time. And then I think that's all we need to do.